until the internet goes out. Hi, my name is
I'll take
Drea.
over.
Welcome. Yes, everything's absolutely fine here. Good evening. My name is Drea Douglas. I'm the learning coordinator at the North Bend Public Library, part of the Coastline Library Network, where right now we are featuring Tidal Wave, and our Tidal Wave author this year, as you all know, is Ellie Alexander. Now, cozy writer extraordinaire, Bakeshop Mysteries, Sloan Drake, set up in Beervaria. It's just so lovely to have you here. And if you've been joining in on the activities, you know we've had a lot of things that we've been doing. First off, we had a cookie demonstration on a little while, was it last Saturday? We'll be baking bread tomorrow. We also have a scavenger hunt going on, and Ellie, I will need you to reveal a secret in a moment about that. We've also got the tidal wave idea, the crowdsourced book, the crowdsourced mystery, and we're in round 2 of it. If you want to join in and let us know where you think this mystery should be set, who should the victim be, other questions like this. Ellie has asked us these questions. She's going to write the start of a story involving that comes from our answers, and that's going to be the come here, you. Yes, that's going to be the 15th, May 15th at 4 p.m. The final chapter, A Tidal Wave Mystery. You will want to be here for that. And right now we have interview with Ellie Alexander. So Ellie, welcome. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's a blast. It's so fun. I don't do stuff on Zoom, so it's so fun to see faces. It's the best for me.
Definitely.
You don't see things on Zoom? Where have you been?
I know, just on Facebook Live. Man, I've been missing out.
We're all living here, man. It's good to have you. Welcome. So I asked Ellie a couple of questions ahead just to make sure that we knew we'd have something to talk about. We do have a list of questions. If we vary from that list, oh well. If you have questions, are we going to have people shout them out later? Are we going to have them sent through the moderator?
Whatever you want to do, I'm open.
Let's go with sending through to the moderator, if you wouldn't mind at this time.
Yeah, sorry, Drea. If folks want to put questions in chat, I'll keep an eye on them and feed them to Ellie after Drea's done with the interview. We could also have people unmute if we want at that point too. But why don't we just try a chat?
Yeah, we're just have a little, yeah. And meanwhile, we'll have a little chat. One of the things that Ellie told me when we were talking before is that it might be fun to talk about the term cozy. And you say that, you know, how many people have never heard this term? And when I was talking to my brother, I said, we've got a cozy author coming. He's like, well, what's a cozy? And I explained, he's like, okay, so like what my wife reads. Yes. So now that's the definition of a cozy, is what my brother's wife reads. But,
I love it.
Yeah. Tell me where do you see the parameters of cozy?
What your brother's wife reads pretty much sums it up. Yeah, that's right. Everybody who's on the call reads cozy. So yeah, no, I think they tend to be self-explanatory. You know, if you pick up a book that's titled Meet Your Baker or Chilled to the Cone, you likely know that you're not about to read something that's very dark and heavy. They tend to take place in a small town or village and feature an amateur sleuth. And then I think there are a number of things that resonate, and I always like to hear what readers think. I was a cozy reader myself for many, many years prior to writing them. They are cerebral. I mean, they kind of get a bad rap sometimes for being light, but they're cerebral in that you as the reader have the same opportunity as the sleuth to piece together the clues, because the focus is on that. It's like Agatha Christie style or a locked room murder where you have to piece together what happened. And so I do think there's some brain work involved. And then I think the last thing I would say is they are really like a modern day fairy tale or escape, because especially after the last year that we've all been through together, you know, there isn't always closure in real life. And we know in the cozy, something horrendous is going to happen at the beginning. There's going to be this awful murder. The community is going to come together. They're going to rally around each other to solve it. And then at the end, justice is served, like all is right with the world. So I think there's something satisfying about knowing like, okay, at the end of this, it's all going to work out. So that might be sort of fairy tale-ish, but I like it.
Fairy tale-ish with a slice of pie.
And murder. Yeah.
And murder. Yeah. And when did you decide I'm going to put recipes in my books? I mean, like, I'm going to write cozies and there's going to be recipes. How did that?
Yeah, I don't think it was a conscious choice. The first culinary mystery series
the muse was hungry.
Yeah, right. That I remember reading was Diane Mott Davidson. Did anyone read Diane Mott Davidson? She had a very long running Goldie Schultz. She was a caterer in Colorado. I read that entire series when I was probably fresh out of college. And I just loved the food writing as part of that. So when I started writing cozies, food is such a part of my own life that it just kind of ended up turning out that way. But actually the first series that I wrote did not include food. And I sort of thought that I wouldn't write a culinary mystery because there was so much on the market that I didn't think that there was space for that. And what I've come to learn is that there's always space for that. Readers devour these, as do I. That's always my touch point to new writers too. Like, don't think that there's not room on the shelf for your book, because there definitely is.
You are really encouraging to new writers. I'm sure most of you have visited her website. If you have not, please do take a look. elliealexander.co, I believe. Yes, something near that. And you even do run a series of courses for people that are budding writers, want to know whether it's the production, from from direct, getting your agent on, or how am I working with these characters? You've got something that people can go and maybe hire you for this, and that's fantastic. It is a more collaborative environment. As you say, there's always room for another mystery with food, and there's always room for another mystery writer.
Absolutely. Yeah. And part of that was sort of bred out of in my own journey to publication. I just really piecemealed so many things together. And I definitely had wonderful mentors along the way. And then I had some not great experiences too. And so wanting to nurture other writers in that process, because I am a believer that we need any and all creative energy out in the world that we can put out there.
Indeed. So you have a studied career in writing. I asked her just before we got started about Broadsheet 360, which was an online publication. Unfortunately, it appears to no longer be, but thank God for the Wayback Machine at the Internet Archive, so I could look at a couple things. And I have to say my favorite thing would be, where was it here? Yes, an article, not yours, but you were one of the people that was producing this, so you were editing here. Why I believe Heath Ledger is alive and well and working at my local Fred Meyer grocery store. Way to make your magazine PNW right there.
Right.
Kudos. So could you talk a little about Broadsheet 360?
Yes, I said I love that you found that little nugget, that gem. So when I made a segue, my degree is in speech therapy. So I spent the early part of my career working in speech therapy and then working for the Alzheimer's Association. And in my mid-30s, I decided I'd always dabbled in writing. I had written just terrible things that will never see the light of day. And a girlfriend and I were walking one day, and I was talking about wanting to write a mystery. And I said, I cannot write a cozy mystery because I've just done this very serious work in the world. And now I'm going to shift and do something that's light and fairy tale-ish. Like, I can't do it. And she said to me, she said, sometimes as a reader, I just need an escape. Her mom was dying of cancer at that point in time, and she was visiting her at the hospital. And she said, when I go to the hospital to spend time with my mom, I want a light read. And, you know, sometimes you hear something at the right point in time, and that just resonated with me in every way, where I was like, okay, well, that's going to be my mission. So I didn't know how to write a mystery at that point in time. I hadn't published anything. So we decided we would start a blog together and just blog about, you know, everything that you're saying, Drea, that is Pacific Northwest to a T. Write what you know, right? You hear that all the time. So that was kind of my first foray into writing. And then I really used that experience with Broadsheet. It was an online blog only. To like, then I would take that and pitch my local newspaper. And then that led to writing for some magazines. And at that time I was also studying and taking classes on how to craft a mystery. So that was really like my first baby step into writing at any sort of professional level. I wasn't getting paid. We had a lot of our friends writing for us. It was super fun.
That's wonderful. That is fantastic. I have a technical note. I'm seeing some freezing happening, and I just want to warn that it could be at my end, and therefore I may suddenly disappear. Paul has volunteered to take over. He's got my notes. He can do it. We all believe in him. But, you know, hopefully no one's sitting there going, Drea, no. So I guess we're okay at the moment. But yeah, you mentioned Alzheimer's, and I know that this was also one of your early publications was about your mother. And, you know, do you want to talk about that? Because plug the Alzheimer's Association, please.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such an important organization. Yeah, my mom had, and this is something I've talked about at length. So I'm always very happy. Not happy is the wrong choice of word. Very interested in talking about it, because I think it's something willing. There you go. Thank you. Where's my thesaurus when I need it? My mom developed young onset Alzheimer's. So she got Alzheimer's. She was diagnosed in her early 50s. And it was so foreign to our family because there was no family history. It took a really long time to diagnose what was going wrong too, because people thought maybe, you know, it was all sorts of things that it wasn't. And that experience really cracked me open to writing too. She is the person who introduced me to cozies to begin with. So I always feel like now as I'm writing them, I get to pay tribute to her in that way. But I spent about 5 years working for the Alzheimer's Association. I ran communication and public policy here for the state of Oregon. And it was an incredible experience. It's an amazing organization. That was another space where I got to really practice writing, because I would write for the newsletter, and I would write pieces for our local Oregonian at the time, trying to raise awareness. When my mom was diagnosed, and this was, it's been 20 years now because my son is 17. You know, there wasn't a ton of awareness, and especially about young onset, but I'm happy to say that there has been really a revolution in the last 15 years in awareness building, which is such an important part of any sort of organizational momentum. And I would say if anyone is having experience like that with a loved one, please reach out to your local chapter. They have a plethora of free resources that were so helpful. Yeah, I can't say enough. I'm so glad I had that experience.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you had that resource, because it's the sort of thing that we can't do this alone. I mean, of all the things to have to do alone, you know. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was reading something that an article about you and going through this, and the fact that, again, when it's that young, when someone's that young, this is not the first thing on anyone's diagnosis, you know, and so just the baffling nature of dementia. So
yeah,
thank you for your willingness. I mean, sorry to use the word again, but you know, the fact that you wrote a book, you work with the organization. You know, this is helping someone who's going through that.
right. Yeah, and you know, I mean, I had always gone to hear writers speak when I was in my 20s and early 30s, when I was thinking about wanting to write myself. And they would talk about this book that lived within them, that this story that they had to tell. And I didn't have that. You know, I had lots of ideas, but nothing that felt like I have got to tell this story. And so much, that was the very first book that I wrote. It's a memoir. And it parallels becoming a mom for the first time while losing my mom. So, my mom was losing all of these basic skills like her speech and her ability to swallow, where my son is gaining those same skills. So it was definitely a juxtaposition in my life, but it was such a gift in hindsight, because for anyone who's gone through that experience, one of the things that happens in Alzheimer's is you just slowly lose the person over time. And so writing that book really just built her back up for me and made her whole in this other way. So I finally understood that idea of like, oh, I had to tell that story. Even if no one ever reads that book, like I told that story for me. And that's just such a gift.
Thank you. It's like, we could delve into this, but we should probably talk cozy or something. I would like to know, I know that you're working on something new. Now you've got like Mocha, She Wrote coming out, and I think you're going to read a little something from that, but you said you were working on something new as well, right?
Yeah. The pandemic really shifted some things for me. I've always been a prolific writer. I have not always written well. I just wrote a lot of terrible stuff. And that really hasn't changed. And the process of writing for me is really therapeutic more than anything. I tend to sway very anxious otherwise. If I'm not working on a book, my creative energy can spin into all kinds of like terrible scenarios, which was particularly true in this last year when we all lived through real terrible scenarios. So something unexpected happened to me that really was just like born out of this need to create this last year. So I have started 3 new projects, none of which are mysteries. And I'm super excited to share them. And I think I'm going to share like the whole process. I tried to document it as I went, and I'm going to do these differently. So I'm going to ask for readers' input on the multiple stages of publishing. And it's been totally amazing and so unexpected. And really, I think it was because of the pandemic, but I think organically where I'm at in my writing career, it makes sense too, because my 25th mystery is going to be published in June. And so this experience of writing something that's not a mystery has really like forced me out of my comfort zone again too, and really forced me to like stretch again as a writer and feel uncomfortable and not know what I'm doing or where I'm going with a story, which I guess it shouldn't sound like it's a good thing, but it ultimately is a good thing. Like I want to keep growing as a writer myself too. That's what I want to teach people, and that's what I want to do for my own self.
Nice. The one thing you've also been doing during this, and I think everyone knows, that's probably why everyone is here, is your crowdsourcing. I mean, and it was so fun. For those who don't know, North Bend had her Ellie join us again, via Zoom to crowdsource a mystery. And so this is what we're doing now in Coastline is, who ends up dead? Where's the body found? And it's last I saw, the winner in the titles was, I believe, Wined, Dined, and Brined for our cozy mystery. So
yes.
So if people don't like that title, go vote. You are all welcome to vote, even if you didn't have a part in the first round. And I, of course, am plumping for the body to be found at the Lewis B. Simpson statue in North Bend, but we'll see what happens. The crowd may not agree. I don't know. But yeah, what made you? Where did this come from? It's awesome that you do it, but where did this come from?
Okay, honestly, this is the true story. My husband was really sick, so it was March. I will not forget that it was, I can't remember if it was the 12th or the 13th. It was March 13th. I was on a call with my publicity team at Macmillan. And as I'm on the call with them, we have a monthly call. We were plotting out plans, and like, obviously things had started with the pandemic, right? But as I'm on the call with them, they learned that the New York office is shutting down. Everybody's going home. They're like, cancel all your events. I was supposed to do a library event here in Jackson County that night. I canceled that. My son got home from school. School was canceled. It was just everyone. You all know. We all went through that experience, right? And like 3 days later, oh, and my husband was sick. That's what I was going to say. I'm sure he had COVID in hindsight, but we didn't know it at the time. Like he was the sickest he's ever been in the 20 years we've been married. And so I was on Instagram, and I was all of a sudden, like, all of my favorite musicians were doing these just Instagram in their living room concerts. Like, thank you, Matt Nathanson. I was watching Matt Nathanson, who is like my Juliet playlist for the Bakeshop Mystery. He's like, all of his songs are these romantic, very heartbroken, sad songs. Which, side note, my husband, if I'm listening to too much Matt Nathanson while I'm writing, will be like, you gotta lay off the Matt. I'll come upstairs like, okay. Anyway, I was listening to him do this concert, and I'm sobbing through the whole thing, just feeling like the weight of everything, and also this gratitude that he has this gift that he's like sharing just online with everyone. And it was so intimate. And I thought to myself, like, I wish that I had something like that, I've always wanted to be able to sing. I cannot sing to save my life. I cannot carry a tune. So what I'm like, my internal thought is like, I wish that I had something like that I could share with people just to like lighten everybody's load. And that night I was tucking my son into bed, and a choose your own adventure book. He has all of my old choose your own adventure books. A choose your own adventure book fell off the shelf. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. I know how to write a mystery. Like, I could write a mystery. And so the next day I was just like, hey, who wants to write a mystery? And it evolved from that. And I know a lot of people on here have been doing this with me, and it's the best.
Do you do with them what you did with us in North Bend? I mean, do you then because I had a question later, like, well, is she going to write this? And I said, no, I think the event was the finished product and it was fantastic. But, what happened, for those of you who haven't done this before, is she will write the first part of the book or the story. And then, at the event, ask, all right, here are your 4 suspects. Who did it? Or, suspect 1, why? Suspect 2, why? And it was just a fun time kicking that around. So please come to that again. It was such a party. But yeah, it was. But that is it, right? You're just going to write the beginning, and then we're going to have a party and talk about the ending.
Totally, and it's fun just to. No. But I think it's that. I think it just spurs, because if everyone on this Zoom likely reads mysteries or is a reader. Like, I think if you readers and writers, we are all the same, because all writers are readers too. If somebody says to me, like, I hate to read, but I'm going to write a book, then that's like a big red flag, right? They'd be like, I hate to cook, but I'm going to become a chef. So I just think I don't know. You all should answer. But for me, I think it's that idea of, we all have so many creative ideas in our head that it's fun to share that as a group. And for me, that's another thing that I think has just totally sparked my own creativity, to have this like back and forth with people, where usually it's me and sometimes Emmy, who's now crying because she got off my lap, in my office by myself. Like, it's pretty solitary. So yeah, Joseph, we could feed off each other's creativity. It's true. Yeah.
Paul has just put in the chat the voting link, so you can all go. You can vote more than once too. All right, we are not counting.
I also put in a link for the submission form to contribute.
Vote early, vote often. Yeah.
Well, we went wild. We weren't random here. It was fantastic. Would you like to read something from Mocha she wrote?
Yes, I absolutely can.
Please.
I realized after I printed out the first little section, I'm just going to read you a couple pages just to give you the tone, that there might be a spoiler, because this is book 13. So I'm gonna try to read over. So
should we listen like this?
No.
I know Jamie's very concerned.
Okay. If it seems clunky, no, what I'm telling you, if it seems clunky, the reason it seems clunky is because I'm going to skip over the spoilers. Okay. So there aren't going to be spoilers, but it probably might not flow to the level that it should. Are we okay with that? Okay. All right. Okay. So this is from Mocha. She wrote, they say that love is the answer. After years of searching for answers about my future and where I was meant to be, I was inclined to believe that statement. My world had expanded dramatically since I had come home to Ashland. The pessimist in me worried that something was going to go terribly wrong. All of my dreams had come to fruition. I was managing a boutique winery at Uva. Things at our family bake shop Tort were running seamlessly, and we had recently opened a seasonal walk-up ice cream shop, Scoops. That's a spoiler, but that doesn't really matter. That's fine. I'm not going to give you any major plot point spoilers. Where we served luscious hand-churned concretes. That's also very Pacific Northwest. We call our ice cream concrete sometimes, especially in Portland. Made with fresh local berries and drizzled with dark chocolate. As if that weren't enough to keep me occupied, I was settling into my childhood home, making it my own by installing outdoor ovens, hummingbird feeders in the backyard, and hanging collections of photos from my travels across the world. What more could I want? I asked myself as I turned onto the plaza. A lazy spring had given way to a busy summer. It was nearing the end of June, which meant that Ashland's idyllic downtown was bursting with activities. Tourists had arrived to take in shows at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. Kids lounged in Lithia Park, soaking up the warm sun and a well-deserved break from their studies. Adventure lovers waited in line at the outdoor store to take advantage of the region's abundant opportunities, from rafting on the Rogue River to hiking Grizzly Peak. The eager buzz brought a smile to my face as I walked toward Tort. The bake shop sat at the corner of the plaza, across from the Lithia Bubblers, offering my team and our loyal customers a perfect view of all the action. Our bright red and teal awning, outdoor tables, and window displays, complete with strings of rainbow bunting, paper mache popsicles, and colorful beach balls, gave the space a welcoming vibe. A symphony of delectable flavors greeted me as I stepped inside. I'll stop there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's coming out in June. Is that correct? That's what you're
coming out.
Yes.
Yep.
Rolling out in June. Now, Chris, I love how she says, the pessimist in me. I'm thinking, which you have to be. You keep finding bodies. You should. I would worry about you if you weren't a pessimist at this point.
Right. Ashland, since I live here, as you know, it's not, it is everything that I described there, minus a lot of bodies. Yes.
You clean those out before the tourists get there.
Right. Yeah, we try.
Crime is only in the off season.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So, so your book is coming out in June. People should be ready to buy it. But you said that one interesting question that you get from readers is that they apologize for getting books at the library instead of buying them. Now's your chance to shatter the myth.
Yes,
Please.
That's a myth that I really want to shatter. In fact, I said at the beginning of our Zoom before everybody was on that a while ago, I said I was never going to join TikTok, and now I'm on TikTok. So never say never, but I think that's going to be a TikTok myth video that you're saying right now. So thank you for that. No, I'm always surprised because readers will genuinely email me these lovely, nice messages apologizing profusely for getting a book at the library. And I immediately write back and say, no. Like, please support your library. Absolutely. That's what libraries are for. Libraries are the guardians and disseminators of all the books in the world. Like, of course you should support your library. And it doesn't matter to me how you find the book. I'm just excited that you read the book. And of course, libraries are the biggest supporters of authors. It's reciprocal. Libraries buy lots of books, and you can ask your library if they don't have a copy to order one, and they'll likely do that for you. Yeah. So, and libraries do so much more than just connect books with readers. It's this sort of thing too. Like without libraries, we would not have that. I just think for me, like the library hasn't always been like the heart of our community center. All of my early memories are on Friday afternoons. My mom would walk my brother and I to our local library. I would come home with a stack of books for the weekend, devour them, go back on Monday, like get a new round. My very first thing that I got was my library card. I was more excited about that than getting my driver's license. So yes, let's please shatter that myth.
Yes. Go to your library, please.
Yeah.
You can always buy the book, but please, we love it when you come to the library. But yeah, I really like that. That's something that you wanted to address, so that, you know, no one has to feel guilty about getting a book at the library. I'm surprised when people get me books as gifts, because I'm kind of like, I work with these.
you wait, what are you saying? You don't need them?
I know. Well, you know, I've got a few. I've got a few books. I'm good. But what was it I was going to ask you about? Oh, yes. We're doing a scavenger hunt.
Oh yeah.
And would people like to? I don't know who here is doing the scavenger hunt. This might help them start. Ellie Alexander, what's the secret clue?
Okay, your secret clue is you have to find an author with a pen name. You have to sleuth out an author's pen name. And there's a way that you can do that. It involves going to your library or picking up any book on your shelf. Am I supposed to give a further clue or just that? Do we make it hard for people?
I believe that satisfies.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you have to discover any author, doesn't matter, any genre, discover what their real name is if they're writing under a pen name.
Who do we know with a pen name?
I don't know.
Jamie said the answer is Emmy.
Yes.
What?
The answer is always Emmy.
When in doubt. Yeah, someone else had a cat coming in. That was great. It's been lovely to see the animals. So are there any questions from the audience? Oh, I'm sorry?
And we had Horty's dog earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I saw Jamie's black cat a moment ago. Joseph did want to know the name of the book published as Kate Dyer Seeley.
I have quite a few. So the very first book, I bet that's what you're asking. Was the memoir is titled Underneath the Ash.
Yeah, the memoir about your mom.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And it's not cozy, just FYI. It definitely is not cozy. But you know, I'm super proud of it. It is titled that in part because there's a theme of Mount St. Helens erupting throughout the book, which is one of my like vivid childhood memories. So that's kind of the ash piece.
And Anna Louise wanted to know if it's still available.
I think so is the short answer.
I believe it's on Amazon.
Yeah. It was published initially by a small press out of Portland that went under in like what year would that have been? 2012, I think. And then it got re-released under Broadsheet. I put it back out myself, but I never really did anything with that. I think, like I was saying earlier, you know, for me, it was like I had to write that book just to get that experience out of me. And then that really cracked me open to like, okay, what do I want to write now? And that spurred this whole lots of mysteries, different kind of experience. So yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I know I saw it on Amazon, but I don't remember if I saw it as people are selling their copies or as actual new print sitting somewhere.
Maybe I'll have to add that to my list. She's going to pull out my headphone. Maybe I'll have to add that to my list of projects for this year. Oh, Joseph is already, there you go. Two copies on eBay.
There you go. And
already bought both of them.
And Jamie thinks you need to publish a photo album of Emmy.
Oh my gosh. An Emmy photo shoot. She will be definitely down for that idea for sure.
I think it was Anna Louise said maybe you could just put a picture of her in every book.
Okay. This is a true story. I hate nothing more than taking headshots. I have to have new photos taken because I'm doing a website revamp and for these projects that I'm going to be publishing this year. And you like, if you meet me in real life, like this is me. There's nothing like what you see here is what you see in real life. So I think like I have this disconnect because it's so important for me to show up in an authentic way that if somebody tells me to pose for a photo, I'm like, it's the worst. Like I'm not afraid to smile. Like I don't even mind seeing myself. But if I have to actually pose, it's like suddenly it's just super uncomfortable. So I'm thinking Emmy could just become my headshot. She could be like, you want to do that? She's closing her eyes. So that must mean yes.
No, she's all set for it. And I did mention, because I know you were talking about that once during one of your lives. I used to do this for a friend of mine when I was in high school. She would not smile during picture day. So I would go sneak in around the back of her and I would start telling her terrible jokes behind the photographer until she laughed, and then he would take the photo. So
okay. Do you want to just fly out and do that for me in a couple weeks?
Okay, why not?
Okay.
Are you paying?
Great.
Because
Yeah.
I'm like broke. So
Okay.
I got 6 cats. They take all my extra money. Okay, great.
And your books and cats.
Yeah, just PayPal me some money. We'll work it out.
Okay. I like it.
And some cake.
And some cake, definitely cake. Mm-hmm.
Yes. That was this is a total random question, but I remember in the second Sloan Krause mystery, there is a pine. It's a pine infused shortbread, something like that.
Right.
How did that go over? Did the readers like that? Have you and that's have the readers commented on the do they like your recipes? Have they said, oh, I do it better? What? And the pine needle one, it always just sticks out to me because I'm like, well, I think I need to try that. So
I think you do.
I'm just curious.
I would say the second most common email that I get from readers are about recipes, because the Bake Shop mysteries have recipes in the back.
Right.
So those recipes are all curated and practiced and baked by me. The Sloan Krause do not. She bakes because I can't escape writing about food anymore, apparently. But the recipes aren't included in the back. And that was only because that was published in hardcover. So it's like a space issue from the publishing house, which I didn't know. But the pine cookies are real. I had them at a bakery here in Ashland, like 4 or 5 years ago, and they were delicious.
Wow.
I recreated them myself because even if the recipes aren't included in the back, when I edit, there's always a food layer that I do because I like that sensory experience of like being in the kitchen, and I take notes and I document that. I went out, we live in Oregon, right? So I went outside and I was like, well, I need some pine needles. And then I thought, can you just like pick any pine needles? Are they lethal? Are any of them poisonous? So I went to my neighbor who's 86. She's a judge. And I figured, a judge knows stuff. I'll ask her. She had no idea either. So I took samples from like 5 different types of pine trees, or like we have hemlocks, and I don't know, I've heard hemlock. That seems like it could be a poison. But no one died, so it's all good.
Way before your time, when I was a little kid, there was a grape nuts commercial with this naturalist called Yule Gibbons, and he would say, did you know many parts of the pine tree are edible? So yeah, go with the pine. I'd stick away from the hemlock.
I know, right?
I don't know what the inedible part of the hemlock is, but it did kill at least one writer. So
okay,
be careful.
Well, and then I'm thinking that could be a potential, somebody eats a cookie gone wrong in a future book. I don't know.
Yeah.
You'll all know.
And Joseph said, don't make hemlock tea.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right. But we have like manzanita.
was-
We have a lot of options for trees. So yeah. Cookie gone
Talk to your
wrong. There
local
you go.
arborist.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't
I
dive
think
deep. I should have.
No, but I mean, it was a fascinating thing, especially you're serving it with a beer, because I don't think of cookies and beer. And yet, this is what you were doing. And now I'm kind of like, well, we need to think about this. We need to find out what cookies are going with which beers. And, so continue in that vein. Although Sloan Krause is coming to an end, is it not?
It is. Yeah. Book 5 comes out in October, and the series is going to wrap with that one.
She's going to figure it all out. And no one's going to die on her.
I don't know. I don't know if I can promise
Remains
that.
to be seen.
Yeah. Basically, you've made 2 deadly towns.
Yeah, right. I know. Poor Leavenworth and Ashland. They're like, what? Why? Why us? What have you done?
So
Hey, we've got
Ellie,
an author putting us on the map, killing people.
so we did have another question for you, Ellie.
Yeah.
Haley mentioned that April Ablin makes her laugh out loud. Are April and your other characters inspired by people you've met in real life?
Yes. So this is no joke. This April Ablin, the name is a friend of mine. Her last name is Ablin, and she does not resemble April in the books in any way. So if I use your name in a book, it never has any likeness to the person. But I often steal people I know. I steal their names because I've run out of names. It's a lot of suspects every book. So you should be honored. If you find your name in a book, don't worry. It's not a reflection of you. However, April's personality, my sister is a teacher, and she had a colleague who brought her into her office to show her the photo shoot wall, which is my living nightmare, of an entire wall of like posed selfies, an adult woman, posing with an umbrella and posing in different outfits, and like just all an entire wall. And
In her office?
In her work office. Yes, at the school.
I think I've seen her
So-
Facebook page.
So she's working and being stared at by her own pictures.
Yes. And like, you can't make that up. That is just literary gold. And the best part is this colleague of my sister's read the book and did not recognize herself in any way, shape, or form.
Of course not.
Loved the book. Loved the book. So there you go.
So
She's real.
I had a question related to writing about what you know. So I'm assuming there might be a speech therapist in one of your books. Is that safe to assume?
There are no speech therapists, but now that you're saying that, Paul, there needs to be. Yeah. Good thinking.
I don't know how you're going to
Speech
combine that with baking, though.
Well, the beautiful thing about writing mysteries is that you constantly need to have suspects coming into town. So there would definitely be a way that a speech therapist could be charged with murder somehow. They've seen something nefarious with one of their clients. I'll think on that. I like it a lot. But yeah, a lot of the villains, or I think again, we're talking about cozy mysteries here, so you can play up these characters more than you could in a different style. April is so over the top, but it works. Like, that's kind of, you want these sort of villainous or these antagonists to really challenge your protagonist. But there are quite a few characters in my stories for whom I have seen out in public. I've seen people engaging in awful ways, and I just make notes in my head, or I make notes in my notebook, and I think, okay, I can kill you in a future book. So be nice.
And give them a friend's name.
And give them a friend's name. Yeah. Paul, Drea, Anna, Horty, top row. I'm looking at you. Get ready. Actually, no joke, Horty. You're not going to be able to see it. I wrote it on the back of my notes for Mocha She Wrote, but I said Horty for a future book. I love that name.
Very cool. I thought the same thing.
Yeah, right. Oh, who's Richard Lord modeled after? Richard Lord is a recurring villainous character in my, there's a theme here, guys. In my Bakeshop Mysteries, he owns the hotel across the street from Juliet, and he is not even loosely, but directly modeled after a boss that I had in high school, who was horrible, who wore golfing attire every day, although he did not golf. And
well, it is styling.
I know. Life is always stranger than fiction, 100%. Who owned an athletic club that had never worked out. He was just sort of like very, yeah. Also, I'm sure would not recognize himself.
I doubt it.
And were you working for him? Was it, he didn't have a restaurant?
No, he didn't have a restaurant. No.
All right. So you're pinning that on him, but he's the sort of guy that if he had a restaurant, it would be the Mary Windsor.
Exactly.
It would run the same way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You get to, as a writer, you get to take amalgams of people and kind of mash them together. And but the inspiration for this is another reason why I think everyone should write, and perhaps write a mystery in your lifetime, because you get to exact your revenge on the page. Like, come on. Who were those high school bullies? Who, did you wrong? Put it down. Get it on paper. Let's go.
You share an opinion with pretty much an anti-cozy, which would be director and writer John Waters, who was teaching a screenwriting class in a prison and showed them one of his movies, and they're like, and you're walking around outside. And he's like, that's right, because I do fiction.
Totally. I love that.
I would say barely fiction.
That is just Baltimore. Yes. And this is just Ashland.
True.
Oh yeah, Haley has a question here. Paul, can you well, hold on here.
I can get it. So
yep.
Haley said, I know you visited our area recently. Any highlights from your trip to the coast to share? And did you get any inspiration for your writing?
Oh my gosh. How long do we have left on the Zoom? I had the most spectacular time in my entire life. And I am a native Pacific Northwesterner. My best friend from college grew up in Coos Bay. So I've been to Coos Bay multiple times throughout my years, but I had never made it to, oh my gosh, Charlotte. No. Charleston. Shore Acres. Shore Acres. How have I missed out in Shore Acres my entire life? Like, it is a thing of magic. Everyone who's on this call, when you come to Oregon, you must go to the coast. It was stunning. And like the beautiful coves and the water and the hiking. I loved every minute of it. I absolutely loved Seven Devils Brewing. We went and had a beer and had dinner outside. It was amazing. I was like feeling all the Sloan vibes there. Yeah, it was incredible. I can't wait to come back. I've heard that Shore Acres does a big Christmas event. Is that right?
Yeah, so every year at Christmas, they do Christmas lights that are nautical themed. So you got whales, you have an underwater scene that's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. And you get to go to the coast at night. Yeah.
And again, the Oregon coast is just, it's like nothing else. It's so stunning and sweeping. And I got lots of information. I got lots of inspiration for one of my new projects that I'm working on that's actually set on the coast. So it definitely was atmospheric for me.
Awesome.
Come on. You liked the chip pile.
did drive by the chip pile. I had to find the chip pile, Drea. That's no joke. In fact, that's the first thing I said to my husband. I'm like, before we drive through town, I got to go see the chip pile. He was like, the chip pile?
The first time my father-in-law visited here, he made me pull over on the highway so he could take a bunch of pictures of the sawdust because the pile is so big.
Incredible. We put a body in the chip pile for anyone who wasn't part of our holiday event. And now I know, like, you could lose a body there for
A
sure.
lot of them.
And then we had the slow motion bulldozer chase over the chip pile, right? Yeah.
Right.
I was literally picturing a giant pile of potato chips, thinking it was like a roadside attraction, like a giant ball of twine that exists out there. And I was like, it's a giant pile of chips. Great.
No.
Not.
Wood chips.
More than you'd ever know what to do with.
Yeah.
And they were steaming.
But it made it into the book.
Yeah.
It made it into the story. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And Jamie wasn't the only one thinking of potato chips.
We all have chips on our minds. Let's
Sorry
be
for the
real.
bitter disappointment.
Must be all those food beat books everybody's reading.
Dream crushers.
Yes. Or dream maker, because now maybe someone has the inspiration to go out and write about the world's largest potato chip pile.
That has not been done. I think somebody absolutely should start that. Yes, please.
And then the body they find buried beneath it.
I like it. I'm here for that one.
Where the chips fall.
Okay,
See?
raise your hand. Who's going to do it? Let's go. Chips and Dad.
You're welcome, people. Okay, we're giving this to you for free.
That's right.
Did anybody else have anything they want to ask Ellie, or just if you want to just unmute and make a comment, that'd be fine too. Anybody have anything they want to add? Go ahead,
Ellie, have
Annalise.
you ever thought about doing a rom-com?
Well, funny you ask. So I'm working, the first project that I'm working on is, I would call it, it's women's fiction, I would say, with touches of magical realism. That's what's going to come out first. And then I wrote a series, my very first mystery series, are called the Pacific Northwest Mysteries. And they follow this very bumbling journalist, Meg Reed. And that series ran for 5 books too. It's funny. It's like I either write a long running series, or 5 seems to be the sweet spot for me. Because with Meg and the Sloan series, there was kind of this there is a deep subplot and a secondary mystery that has run through both of those. And it closed at book 5. So it feels like a natural ending. Anyway, long rambling. For a long time, I've been wanting to bring Meg back, but I don't want to bring her back in a mystery form. So I've been thinking and working on bringing her back in rom-com form, so that it would be like 10 years later, the gang's all back together. There's some sort of a meet cute. So that's in the works. I'm just starting that. So we'll see. But I've never written a rom-com. So I read them. I enjoy them. I read everything. Kind of like Paul and Drea and Haley. I think when you are around books, like I'm not particular in my genre. I go through phases. Like I'll go through like a heavy sci-fi or historical fiction or rom-com, and then I'll read my way through something else. But
you've got such a great character to guide you through that.
Right.
If this is who you're bringing back, I mean, because the fact that she kind of literally stumbles on the crimes because she doesn't totally know, she probably shouldn't be doing what she's doing anyway. I mean, your cook can cook, but she really can't do the outdoors that well. But I mean, so I think she's a marvelous character to say, what is falling in love like, and because she's going to describe it in she's probably going to miss signals, and then at 3 a.m. go, oh, sorry, please go on.
No, it's true. I love it. Yeah, and I think, just having written so many mysteries, like I was saying before, it's fun to challenge myself. And I also feel like writing something that's outside of that realm also informs my mystery writing too, because it builds on that energy then. So yeah.
I missed the end of the Star Wars on Tuesday night. Did you talk about what's coming up on Facebook Live next week?
What is coming up on Facebook Live next week? Oh, I'm going to do a Mocha She Wrote preview. So I'm going to give you even more of a taste of what we had tonight. Maybe more pages.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
And Jamie had asked the group a question, but I'm going to pose it to Ellie since we're running out of time. But she was asking, what are you currently reading and loving?
I am reading right now, speaking of rom-coms, I'm reading Jen McKinley's Paris is Always a Good Idea. It's really fun. I'm only halfway through, but it's perfect for what I'm looking for right now. It's good. Oh, there you go,
There
Anna.
it is.
Louise.
Joseph's catching up on his bake shop series.
Are you baking with it, Joseph? That's the next evolution that happened.
Haley mentioned Clara and the Sun.
Ooh, I don't know that. Oh my gosh, that's right. You do work in a bakery. That's awesome.
Jane's reading Donna Andrews.
Oh, Donna's so good.
Our
talk
other
about
Jamie
long-running series.
is currently reading The Punch Escrow by Tall M. Klein. She says, good sci-fi.
Ooh,
Awesome.
the Punch Escrow, is that what you said?
Yes,
I'm writing that
The
one down.
Punch Escrow. Oh, there it is. Oh, I recognize that one. Probably saw it in the library.
I'm reading Dixie Lyle. Have you ever read her books, or his books actually?
No.
They are really funny, to check them out.
Dixie Lyle.
Yes.
And Karen's reading biographies on Tina Turner and Nelson Mandela. I wonder if she's getting ready for that new Tina documentary.
Now I want to sing "You Simply the Best," but I won't sing because I can't remember.
Oh, I was going with what's love got to do with it. Thank you.
Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken?
I love
Thank
it.
you, Jamie.
You don't
I
have to
needed that.
sing well to sing.
I'm with you on that.
And I was just thinking Ike and Tina. I'm not that far ahead. Ain't no mountain high enough and whatnot.
Good one.
Well, I'm thinking it's coming to a natural close. We're, no one died, so not quite a mystery interview, but I hope everyone had a good time.
And
Ellie,
I don't know,
thank
Drea,
you
half the
again.
videos
Ellie
are off.
Alexander, thank you. Yeah, you're right.
I think
You're
Ellie and I
right.
discussed this at our last event.
I'll-
Zoom's the perfect environment for a murder. You just turn your camera off.
It's true. What's really happening behind those black
Oh, good.
screens?
Haley, Margalie, phew.
Here they come. After
Give
they've
us a
cleaned
sign.
up their
Well, thank you everyone for.
scene of the crime.
Kayla, we see you
oh, good,
now.
and a cat. Thank goodness we got a cat in there.
Excellent.
Yay. Zoom session should always begin and end with a cat.
It's true.
So on behalf of the Coastline Library Network, Ellie Alexander, thank you. It has been a pleasure. People, please come back. Please go to cooslibraries.org. That is the library page for the Coastline Network, and I can't talk. At any rate, the front page right now is all Ellie all the time, gives you the links for the various activities, and we certainly hope to see you back. Saturday, I believe, is your next activity, is it not, Ellie? Is the beer bread?
That one is not mine, but I will be back
Oh, I'm sorry.
a week from Saturday to do our collaboration
Yes.
together.
But all the different
Yes.
events are at cooslibraries.org. I think Haley just put it in the chat there.
Oh, good.
All the tidal wave events revolving around Ellie's work.
I want the beer bread for sure.
That sounds good.
You can go to it.
Don't you worry.
Register at coastlibraries.org.
There you go.
Well, thank you, everyone. This
Thanks,
has been
Karen.
a lovely evening, and we will see you all at the library.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Ellie, and everyone for attending.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye, Annie. I
all.
love you.
Bye.
Bye.
you.
Oh, Lillian, what a pretty cat.
Oh,
Oh,
let me see.
there's another kitty.
Oh my
Oh, and Hardy came
really
back
good.
with
Hi, pretty baby. We're just gonna